they don't know about JJ Ortega-Whiteside. They don't know he's become a Redzone machine.
Kick the red, double move on the red.
Dallas still stinks. Everybody do it. King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great mother hump day. Hope you guys are doing well. We had a very interesting practice today. We really did, because we had some bad things happen, we had some scary things happen, and we had some very good things. And we're starting to see some guys kind of pull away from others during camp. Guys who are consistent every day, and we're going to get into it in a minute. But first, I have to apologize to all you guys because I can't stream the Flyers game today. I can't do it. The game is on noon my time, which is way too early, and I tried to manipulate things and make it work so I could come home and do it. Just didn't pan out. It just didn't. Anytime you see Monday through Friday a game on at like noon my time, the chances are I just can't do it. It's just too hard. This is going to be a long, busy day for me. If I get home early enough, I'll do an Eagles live stream in the afternoon. If I don't, then I'll push that Eagles live stream to Saturday afternoon sometime. We'll hang out. We'll talk Eagles football for a couple hours, and it'll be fun. But I'm sorry about that. It's just that I hate that they put these hockey games on at noon my time. It sucks. It sucks. But the Flyers do play again tomorrow, and that is a 4 o'clock game for me, so I will be able to stream that one. Anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know and apologize for the guys who were looking forward to it. It's easy for me to come home like lunch, like I'm doing right now, make a quick video, but to be there to stream 3 hours in the middle of the day just ain't going to work. So let's talk about what happened at practice today. And I want to start before practice started with Doug Peterson meeting with the media, because there were a few things he said that I thought were interesting and stood out to me. First thing, he talked about Carson Wentz. Yes, Carson Wentz is bigger, but he really likes where Carson is mentally, where he is with just his knowledge of the offense and being able to communicate that knowledge with the receivers like Deshaun Jackson, some of these young rookies. He really likes where Carson Wentz is in that aspect. The other thing is, he said Carson has really, really worked on his footwork this offseason. And I think that's huge, because if you remember, in 2017, when Carson Wentz was having an MVP year, his mechanics, his footwork were really, really good. And they were really stressed upon him by this coaching staff. And they kind of got away from that over the last few years. Carson's mechanics haven't been as good. His footwork hasn't been as good. And he really took it upon himself this offseason to work on it. So that's a really, really good sign. The other thing Doug said was that Alshon Jeffrey is starting to increase running on the field. And maybe we'll get him back sooner rather than later, which will be interesting. Now, I've seen Alshon Jeffrey, I've seen pictures of him, at practice and stuff. He looks 20 pounds lighter. He looks like a wide receiver and not a tight end. Last year he looked like a tight end. So if we get Alshon Jeffrey, a healthy, in shape Alshon Jeffrey, that's going to be huge for the Eagles. No question about it. And then the other thing that Doug said that I thought was really interesting was he keeps calling Adrian Keelan's AK. AK. Now, I think that's interesting, because when you start giving a guy a nickname and you're calling him by the nickname you kind of created for him, and so is the team, it kind of tells me you kind of like the guy. You kind of maybe plan on keeping him around a little bit. I think that's a very good sign for Adrian Keelan, that his nickname on the team is AK, okay? And they said he's a Swiss Army knife. They use him as running back, receiver, punt returns, kick returns. They're going to keep this kid. I'm telling you, they like this kid. You don't get a nickname if they don't like you. So AK is who Adrian Keelan is. And I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Now, let's get on to practice. They really didn't have an official injury report come out today. I do know Andre Diller was back. I do know Sidney Jones returned. Sidney Jones returned, but he didn't get a lot of snaps. He practiced a little bit, then they took him out a little bit. Clearly, Avonte Maddox that's his starting job. Sidney Jones is way behind, but he was back at practice. Still no Hargrave, Derek Barnett, Miles Sanders. Those guys are still out. And then we had a pretty, what looks like a bad injury to Jannard Avery. He went down. They had to cart him off. Team came over, was consoling him. It didn't sound or didn't look good from what people were saying. So keep an eye on an injury update from him. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but it looks like Avery got hurt today, and that's really not a good thing. Now, speaking of injury, we almost had a bad injury to Carson Wentz. Okay, there was a play where Joe Osman basically bull rushed Andre Dillard, picked him up, pushed him back into Carson Wentz, who he kind of rolled into his knee, and Carson went down. Could have been disastrous. Now, they said that Osman did let up at the end because you're not really supposed to sack and hit the quarterback, okay? But, man, Osman has been a beast in training camp. And apparently one of the things that Dillard really has to work on is when guys bull rush him. He has a problem with that. Joe Osman did that to him. Josh Sweat has done that to him. And these guys have done it. But that could have been disastrous. I mean, disastrous if Carson would have gotten hurt in that way. That's unacceptable. You can't have that happen. So speaking of Carson Wentz, I heard that this was a bit of an up and down day for him. I heard that the Eagles really so far in camp haven't put a lot of emphasis on going deep a whole lot. I mean, they've done it, but not a whole lot. Today they were going deep quite often, and he was overthrowing some guys. He overthrew Deshaun once. He overthrew Quez Watkins. I think he had a pass behind Arecega-Whiteside, who made a spectacular one-handed catch in the red zone. We're going to get into that, and we're going to get into Arecega-Whiteside in a minute. But I think it was a little bit of an up and down day for Carson Wentz. These things happen. Nothing I'm worrying about, especially if they haven't done a whole lot of deep stuff. Then yeah, it could be a timing thing. So nothing to worry about there for sure. We got to talk about Elijah Holyfield. Elijah Holyfield is, a lot of people were talking today, a lot of beat reporters, and they were saying he's probably your fourth running back right now. He's probably your fourth running back. He's shown an ability to catch out of the backfield. He's a big physical runner. He has some elusiveness. He made a nice spin move, a nice move on Sean Bradley today. And he gets under the skin of the defense, apparently. Okay, because he was running goal line carries, and he was scoring. And then at one point, they stopped him. He was on the sideline. The defense was screaming to the coaches, "Where's Holyfield? So he's kind of getting under their skin a little bit, but you got to like it. You got to respect it. And I think Elijah Holyfield is somebody that I'm becoming more and more excited about, because the more I hear about him and the style of play that he has, I think he's a great compliment for what you have in Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Corey Clement. And Elijah Holyfield is getting a lot of carries with Miles Sanders out. I think Miles Sanders being out and then Boston Scott was out a few days, I think that's helped Elijah Holyfield and especially Adrian Killins a whole lot. And I think that's a very, very good sign. They could keep 5 running backs. They really could. Don't be surprised if it happens. You never know. I heard Quez Watkins made some nice plays today. Dante Burnett is a guy that is getting harder and harder to cut. I think he ends up on the practice squad. I think that's what they're hoping when it comes to him. And then there's Ortega-Whiteside. Now, I got to say, from everything I heard, it sounded like Ortega-Whiteside stole the show today. Ortega-Whiteside is showing up, man. I mean, it's only practice. We got to see him in the game. I want those fast speed wide receivers to really show through. Those are the guys I root for. He isn't that, but he's a red zone threat. He was a red zone machine at Stanford. He had 3 touchdowns in the red zone today. One of them, I believe, was a bad pass. I can't remember to who it was. It may have been Burnett, and he came out of nowhere, snagged one. He caught one with the back, where he had to reach back one-handed. JJ Ortega-Whiteside is having a good camp. It's been one of those camps where early on it's just been, you don't hear a whole lot. He's just doing his thing. But he's standing out more and more, maybe getting more confidence. And I think that's a big deal. It's going to be very interesting to see what this team does at the wide receiver position, because Doug Peterson did make a comment today that John Hightower and Quez Watkins are fighting for a roster spot. And it almost, the way he made it sound, he almost made it sound like they're fighting, the last roster spot could be between one of those two guys. I hope not. I think it's a mistake to cut Quez Watkins or Hightower. All three of those rookie receivers have to find a way to stay on this team. They have to. Necessarily don't have to play. You can put them on IR, but you can't lose those guys. You just can't. Okay? But it's interesting that Doug said it. I'm going to do a channel membership video for Dingbat Nation on Friday, talking a little bit about the receiver position and what could happen. But I think that today was a day for JJ Ortega-Whiteside, okay? Now, on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line once again dominated. They dominated. Fletcher Cox, monster day. Malik Jackson, he continues to impress. He's having a really, really good camp. Joe Osman's making a good case for the team. Josh Sweat, they're saying he's going to take the next step. I don't think that the reason why they're so dominant on defense on that line is because the offense is so bad. I don't believe that. I believe that they're just very, very good, okay? And I think Fletcher Cox is healthy. I think Malik Jackson is healthy. I think these guys are a good bunch, and I think we're going to have a very strong defensive line this year. The other guy I want to talk about on defense is Avonte Maddox, because Avonte Maddox is having a very, very good camp, okay? It's just been solid. He's given up some plays, especially to some of the bigger, more physical guys who go up and make catches, but he does a great job against speed guys. He hasn't gotten beat really, really too bad, and he's just putting together a solid camp. And this is why he is going to win that starting job. That's why he did win this starting job. Sidney Jones was back at practice, but you know what? I don't even know if he took place in 11-11 drills at the end. I don't even think he did that. He was there a little bit, and then that was it. They pulled him out. So who the hell knows? Roswell Douglas had a nice interception today. And then Duke Riley continues to make some plays. So Duke Riley may be in lead for one of those linebacker spots with T.J. Edwards. He has been coming on. He's been coming on the last few days of camp. So keep an eye on Duke Riley. But today overall, when you look at everything that happened, this is a day for JJ Ortega-Whiteside showing up. He's showing that he's ready to take the next step, that the second round pick he was drafted at, he's worth it. So we're going to see when it translates to on the field. But hey, I love hearing that JJ Ortega-Whiteside is doing a great job. I want all these guys to be successful. I want it to be as hard of a decision for these coaches to make when it comes to these receivers. And like I said, can't cut any of those rookie receivers. They got to stay on this team. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.